Mark here, folks, cooking the books and bringing the information. So I've been listening to Mozart and Beethoven pretty much all day. Mozart and Beethoven, music composed at 432 hertz. I've been listening to their classical music all day, right? And the reason why I do that is because I've learned about cymatics, and I spoke about cymatics in previous videos. Cymatics is frequencies, how frequencies manipulate and control the behavior and or movement of grains of sand. And you guys can YouTube this stuff. Go check it out. It's very fascinating, but it shows you how sand and the geometry of sand, the shapes and so on and so forth, size is controlled by different frequencies, amplification, resonance, and so on and so forth. And so what that teaches us is that everything vibrates, right? Everything has a vibratory level. And the music that's played in 432 hertz, which is considered the 432 hertz is considered the Earth's natural resonance. And I spoke about that in previous videos. But what this music does, it actually, our brains have waves, right? Beta, delta, theta, and alpha. Beta, so it's actually in the order of beta, alpha, theta, and delta in that said order. And these are four different ranges of wave patterns that we actually fluctuate through. Some of us are in certain states predominantly more than others, right? Some of us might be more beta, more alpha, more theta, more. If you're a writer, if you're a person who's very creative, you're probably more in the theta range, because theta is the imaginative brainwave that allows you to tap into other dimensions and to be inspired to compose music, art, etc., etc. So that's theta. Beta is a bit more focus and concentration, and concentrated. If you're in a field of career that requires a lot of concentration and focus, you're probably going to be residing more in beta. So the point is this though, the music that is composed by these artists, these musicians, Mozart, Beethoven, like I said, their classical music is written in 432, is composed in 432 hertz. So what it actually does to your brainwave, it actually does what's called brainwave entrainment. So it actually train your brainwaves to follow a frequency that matches the Earth's natural resonance. And matching the Earth's natural resonance is beneficial for all of us as a species, because again, we are products of Mother Earth. So if we can align ourselves with the Earth's natural resonance, it's only going to make you a better person. What I mean by that is this: let's look at it practically, and let's look at it in its practical application. Right, when you can match the Earth resonance, which is again brainwave entrainment, right? Because thoughts follow energy, energy follows thoughts, etc. And when you can match and align yourself to the Earth, it's called human resonance. What you're actually doing is you're tapping it, you're hacking into the VTA. The VTA is called the ventral tegmental area. Ventral, VENTRAL, tegmental area, right, which is a region of the brain that is responsible for the secretion of four happy chemicals. These four happy chemicals are dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, and endorphins, right? Endorphins. It's actually the acronym is DOSE. You get a proper dose of dose. Dose. D is for dopamine, O is for oxytocin, S serotonin, E is endorphin, right? Endorphin. So you're actually, by listening to Mozart or Beethoven played and composed in 432 hertz, which is Schumann's resonance, the natural Earth resonance, what you're actually doing is you're hacking into the VTA, which is a part of the brain that secretes these four chemicals, and you're actually encouraging the secretion of these chemicals. So you can act, and these four chemicals are called your happy chemicals, right? And again, individually, collectively, they work to make you feel complete and whole as a human being. Okay, they ward off mental illnesses, what I call mental pathology. Mental pathology is the inception, the birth of a mental disease or mental sickness, right? Mental health. 1 in 4. This is statistics based off the Mental Health Institute. 1 in 4 individuals suffer from a severe mental form of mental illness and or mental depression. 1 in 4. That's 25%. That's a fourth. 1 in 5 have some form of mental illness, not a severe, but some form of mental illness. It's 1 in 5 out of everybody in the country. That's what, 20%. 20%, right? So being able to exercising is a great way, obviously, to secrete these chemicals as well as to just keep yourself active and high frequency and not fall into any kind of depression. Now, if you're depressed, when you go to doctors, what they prescribe you is serotonin. So they give you what's called exogenous serotonin, right? Exogenous meaning it's created outside of the body. Endogenous means created within the body. So the brain has what's called endogenous serotonin, its own chemicals that it manufactures and secretes, and you can actually speed up the secretion and dosage by listening to 432 Beethoven, Mozart play classical music played in 432 hertz, which again, if you drop it 8 octaves down, it goes to 7.8 hertz, which is Schumann's resonance, right? So I've been listening to Mozart and Beethoven all day, just getting the brain, tapping into the VTA, hacking into your own psyche, and secreting and increasing the dosage of those, and getting those chemicals flowing. And again, like I said, serotonin is a chemical that puts you in a good mood, right? It gives you a sense of belonging, a sense of wholeness, right? And it actually is the depressant, right? It's an antidepressant because, like I said, if you go to the doctors, that's what they prescribed you. I believe it's called SSRI, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, something like that. But so it's actually antidepressant. It's an antidepressant chemical that the brain secretes, right? So you get the serotonin going. The dopamine is a people say it's a reward pleasure pleasurable chemical, but it's actually not. They're right and they're not right. Here's why. It has to do with pleasure, but it's not. If it's a pleasure, because it means when you get pleasure, it comes out. It secretes. No, that's not how it works. It actually is an anticipatory of pleasure chemical. What I mean by that is this: in anticipation of a reward or some satisfaction or some kind of pleasure, dopamine is secreted. So it's anticipatory of the reward. It's not like, okay, you get the reward, then the brain secretes dopamine. No, it's the anticipation of the reward makes the brain secretes dopamine. And it's considered like a primitive mechanism for us because when how the VTA works and how it works is it encourages us to go on and to do things to get the reward, right? In primitive times, if you go hunt, you kill, you eat, right? So anticipate when you eat, you get satisfied, you're full, your belly feels nice, you feel good. Okay, so in primitive times, you want to feel that feeling again, right? So the dopamine is what's going to the anticipation of that feeling is going to secrete dopamine, and you're going to now want to repeat the behavior. So it's a way to repeat a behavior to get a pleasure, right? That's what dopamine does. It encourages you to repeat the behavior that brought you that pleasure. And that's what that dopamine does. And endorphins is a masking of pain chemical. That endorphin, like when you go to doctors, give you painkillers. Well, the painkiller again, it's exogenous. I keep getting those two words confused. Exogenous means made outside the lab. Endogenous means secreted, made within the body. So the endorphin is the painkiller that is naturally, organically created by the VTA and secreted by the VTA. So that's when you exercise. Intense exercises allow the brain to secrete that, and it makes you feel good, just like painkillers do. Right? That's why people get addicted to painkillers. That's why people get addicted to exercising because of the endorphin. And the oxytocin, last but not least, that's what's called the love chemical, right? When you're in love, trust, bonding, and love. So it could be from a partner, a husband, a wife, a spouse, or a family, right? So when you feel loved, when there's trust that's been established, the brain secretes the oxytocin. I believe that's all four that I just touched on, right? Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphin. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphin. Yeah, that's all four. So yeah, so people, take some time out and listen to Mozart, right? Some classical Beethoven. Just listen to it. Sit around your house for a while. Shut off your cell phones. Get off of Facebook. Get off of all this bullshit, and just play some Beethoven. Play my man Beethoven. But, turn off the 50 Cents and the Jay Z's and the turn off the crazy hip hop, the rapping, and just let some Beethoven. Let Mozart rock. You know what I mean? Get your man Mozart and Beethoven some time, and do that constantly on a regular. One time for a few minutes is not going to work, but if you do it over a period of time, you'll realize that your overall attitude, your mood, your disposition, and your productivity and just overall will start to increase and enhance, and you just become limitless like the movie. I'm just playing, but till next time, y'all know what I do. I cook the books and bring the information. Peace.